Now, nutrition in human being, how food particles or food materials enter from the mouth and digested in our body. See, this is the big question and descriptive also. So see, when food is entered into the mouth is also known as buccal cavity. Food enter into the mouth, you know that in the mouth tongue is there and teeth are there. We chew it. At the same time, from salivary gland, salivas are produced. This saliva contains salivary amylase, name of the enzyme. This salivary amylase mixed with the food. So you can say that digestion of food starts from the mouth. Now, along with the salivary amylase, this digested food or degraded food, not digested, degraded food enter into the esophagus. Through esophagus, it enter into the stomach. Now, here in the stomach, hydrochloric acid, HCl, and pepsin is produced. What is the function of hydrochloric acid? Hydrochloric acid kills the bacteria which enter in along with the food. It kills the bacteria and protects us against the microorganism. Pepsin is also necessary. Pepsin is necessary for the digestion of protein. Protein converts into amino acid, that is called pepsin. Means pepsin is necessary. Now, you know that HCl, hydrochloric acid, is produced, which is dilute hydrochloric acid. But hydrochloric acid do not harm the stomach. Why? Because the stomach is covered with mucous membrane, and that's why it does not harm to the stomach. Sometimes when you eat more, then here we can have a citrus ઉડકાર આવે આપણને, one type of ખાટા ઉડકાર. This is because of hydrochloric acid. Now, above the stomach there is a liver. What is the function of liver? Liver absorb the toxic material which may be entered into the food. Along with the food, it absorb it and pass this toxic substance towards the kidney. Then gallbladder. Gallbladder is also necessary. In the gallbladder, the juice bile is produced. The nature of bile is alkaline. Alkaline means basic. Alkali, that is base. So the nature of bile is alkaline. Here the acidic material is there. Food digested in the stomach. Along with the hydrochloric acid and pepsin, it entered into the small intestine. When it enters into the small intestine, then bile is produced and bile enter into small intestine. So acidic substance and alkaline substance mix with each other and it neutralizes it. This is necessary thing. After that, from the pancreas, some pancreatic juices are produced. As for example, trypsin, lipase, etc. This trypsin and lipase is necessary for the digestion of food. Their functions are different. Trypsin is necessary for the peptines and lipase is necessary for the digestion of fat. This small intestine is divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Length of the small intestine is round about 6.5 meter, the biggest part of our body. From the small intestine, the digested food enter into the large intestine. Large intestine is also known as colon. In large intestine, water is absorbed and the waste material comes out from the anus. After that, we will discuss the juices or enzymes produced during the digestion. Now see, we have discussed about the nutrition in human being. Now, what happened or what are the functions of enzymes and juices produced during the digestion of food in human being? See, we start with mouth. Mouth produces salivary amylase, which is also known as ptyalin, here P silent. Because of the salivary amylase, whatever complex structure of starch converts into maltose. Maltose in common language we called it simple sugar. After that it enters into the esophagus. You know that esophagus means in common language it is called food pipe. No digestion takes place. Stomach. Stomach produce, now food enter into the stomach. Stomach produce hydrochloric acid, pepsin and renin. What is the function of hydrochloric acid? It kills the bacteria. It provides the acidic medium for the action of pepsin, because when pepsin is produced, then pepsin works only in acidic medium. And pepsin converts protein. It degraded the big molecules of protein into peptides. Renin is also produced. Renin is necessary for the digestion of milk and their products. Now food enter into the small intestine. Small intestine is divided into three parts that we discussed: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. From the pancreas, pancreatic juices known as trypsin, lipase and pancreatic amylase are produced. Trypsin converts the peptides, which is produced here, into peptones. Lipase converts the fat material or fatty substance into globules of glycerols, means small oily droplets. And if excess amount of oily droplets are there, excess means enough than necessary, more than necessary, then it's stored in our belly. Pancreatic amylase converts starch into maltose again, and maltose converts into glucose, simplest sugar form. Liver, during that process, liver produces bile juice. Bile provide alkaline medium for the pancreatic juices. All these pancreatic juices is necessary for the digestion, and this is possible only when bile juice is produced, because bile provide alkaline medium. That we have discussed that in stomach acidic medium is formed. So alkali, that means base, is also necessary, because acid and base together form salt and water nutrition reaction called the nutrition well. So liver produce bile juice, the reaction will be neutralized. Now intestinal juices. When food enter into the intestine, this procedure occurs. Peptides converts into peptone, fat converts into glycerol, starch converts into maltose. After that, what happens? Carbohydrate converts into simplest form known as glucose. Fat converts into fatty acid, which is also called glycerol. Protein converts into amino acid. One line question may be asked from this, that a long chain of amino acid is known as protein. Protein degraded and converts into amino acid. Fats converts into glycerol. Long chain of glycerol is known as fats. Long chain of glucose is called carbohydrate. Carbohydrate degraded and converts into which substance? Glucose, like this. Now food enter into the large intestine. Here rectum absorbs almost water. Important nutrients are also absorbed, and the waste material comes out from the anus. Sometimes in 4 markers only this topic also will ask, or diagram and explanation will also ask. So this is the most important topic: nutrition in human being, diagram, structure, function of enzymes and juices. Okay, let us start new and interesting topic: respiration. See, respiration it is an exothermic reaction. Exothermic, you know, the energy evolved. The reaction in which energy is evolved is called an exothermic reaction. So respiration is the process in which energy is released. Remember this thing. In which life processes energy is released in the body? Respiration is the process in which energy is released. Remember one thing, nutrition is not the answer. Because generally students are tempted to write nutrition is the process in which energy is released. But if oxygen is available during the reaction or combustion reaction, then energy is released. Is it okay? And so the answer is what? Respiration is the process in which energy is released. This is an exothermic reaction. Now respiration, two types of respirations are there. External respiration and internal respiration. External respiration and internal respiration. External respiration means taking up oxygen from the environment and evolves carbon dioxide that we do. That means three parts are there. Aquatic creatures do this. Terrestrial creatures do this. And the important is human being. External, by taking up oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide, that is called external respiration. Now what is internal respiration? Internal respiration means the chemical reaction or chemical respiration which takes place in the cells. Here ADP converts into ATP by joining phosphate. Internal respiration takes into the cells. Here ADP, adenosine diphosphate, reacts with one atom of phosphorus and produce adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine diphosphate converts into adenosine triphosphate. This is called internal respiration, the respiration which takes place inside the body, that means in the cell. Two types are there. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. You know that aerobic respiration means the respiration which takes place in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration, the respiration which takes place in absence of oxygen. As for example, human being in presence of oxygen. As for example, animals in presence of oxygen. In absence of oxygen, as for example, yeast, some bacteria. In absence of oxygen, they do. Now, we are going to learn about aerobic respiration. Let us start. Internal respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. Then we will plunge into external respiration, that is about human being. First, you know that aerobic respiration means in presence of oxygen. It takes place. Anaerobic respiration means it takes place in absence of oxygen. Here in aerobic respiration, it takes place in mitochondria. It takes place in mitochondria. Here it takes place in cytoplasm. We will discuss it. In aerobic respiration, carbon dioxide and water is produced. In anaerobic respiration, carbon dioxide, ethanol, or lactic acid is produced. Here a high amount of energy is released. And here less amount of energy is released. Actually 38 atom of ATP energy is released. Here only 2 atom of ATP energy is released. In aerobic respiration, it is done by, it takes place in animals and plants. Here it takes place in yeast, bacteria, etc. So you can write difference between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 points are there. 3-mark question. If it will ask in 2-mark question, then also you can write these 6 points. Okay. Now in detail we start aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Okay. Now let us start internal respiration, that is aerobic and anaerobic in detail. We start with first aerobic respiration. See what happens in cells. First, glucose. You know that the formula of glucose, 6 molecules of carbon. Means 6 molecules of carbon. C6H12O6. You know it. One glucose in the cytoplasm, of cell, it is degraded into pyruvates, all known as pyruvic acid. This is 3 carbon molecule. Pyruvate, also called pyruvic acid, having 3 carbon molecules. Means glucose undergoes degradation in cytoplasm, converts into pyruvate having 3 carbon molecules. And in presence of oxygen, that is in mitochondria, inside the mitochondria, it produces carbon dioxide, water and a high amount of energy. I told you that 38 atom of ATP energy is produced. This reaction takes place in aerobic respiration, during aerobic respiration. Now see what happened during anaerobic respiration. During anaerobic respiration, see, during anaerobic respiration, the first common step is what? Glucose, 6 molecules of carbon degraded in cytoplasm and converts into pyruvate known as pyruvic acid having 3 carbon molecules. Now what happened? In aerobic, you have seen that after that the reaction takes place in mitochondria. Here there is no mitochondria. In absence of oxygen, we divide it into 2 parts. in absence of oxygen, suppose in yeast, if it takes place in yeast, yeast means animals, and plant, and in animals we will learn later that in absence of oxygen in yeast, ethanol, carbon dioxide, and only less amount of energy. What happens? Ethanol is produced, carbon dioxide is produced, and less amount of energy is produced. Only 2 atoms of ATP energy. Ethanol is called 2 carbon molecules. Having 2 carbon molecules is called ethanol. So this takes place in yeast. Now what happens in muscle cells, means animal cells? In absence of oxygen in muscle cells, in absence of oxygen in muscle cells, in some cases when you are totally tired or fatigued, at that time in your muscles oxygen availability decreases. Then it undergoes anaerobic reaction in your muscle cells. Glucose undergoes pyruvate, and in absence of oxygen in the muscle cells, lactic acid is produced. Lactic acid is produced and less amount of energy is released. You know that how much? 2 atoms of ATP energy is released. Okay? Lactic acid is also having 3 carbon molecules, but it is degraded form of pyruvic acid. Okay? This is about aerobic and anaerobic. That's it.